Hi, I'm Gia Mills, and welcome to True Reflections, the podcast where I get my guests to reflect on how they feel about their appearance when the glare of the media is upon them and what really lies beneath the surface. Don't forget to follow our podcast wherever you are watching or listening, and on social media. You can find us at True Reflections Podcast. So, who is with me today? My guest today sung with you in the 90s, woke up with you in the noughties, helped you open up about your feelings in the 2010s, and made you laugh and find love in your 20s, in the 20s. In a new series of Celebs Go Dating on the way and her Luanna podcast going from strength to strength, please welcome to True Reflections, with thanks to AXA UK, it's Anna Williamson.
Oh, what an intro, dear. Thank you so much.
Well, that was a bit of help with, I always get a little bit of help with Johnny, so it's rather lovely.
Well, let me tell you, Johnny and I go way back, and producer Johnny, legend.
Legend, absolute legend. So I'm very interested. I'm a big fan of Celebs Go Dating.
Oh, thank
And
you.
so that'll be coming out imminently, which I think is just a kind of cozy, gorgeous, sort of lovely piece of entertainment. But I think from an appearance point of view, and this being a beauty podcast, what advice do you give people when they are dating on the show and how they should look, what they should be wearing, makeup, beauty, all that kind of stuff?
The new series of Celebs Go Dating, series 15. Can't believe it. And this
Seriously,
one, I
gosh.
know this one's just. I think we've surpassed our own expectations with this cast. I mean, Colleen Nolan, Professor Green, James Haskell. I mean, it's they are definitely keeping us on their toes. I actually also never expected to be in such fits of laughter actually so soon into a series, and I think that's really shaped the tone of this one and the cast. They're very earnest, they're very emotionally intelligent, and there are some very wide-ranging dating challenges with all of them. But to your point there about the advice we give when it goes, comes to going into dates, I'm sick and tired of myself saying this, but it is so true. It really is about just showing up as the best version of yourself, but being authentic and being real. And the worst thing that you can do is play a role. If you're not somebody that wears makeup, for example, then don't wear makeup on a date. If you
Mm.
don't like wearing heels, I used to love wearing heels. I do wear them now still, but not that often. But if I'm not comfortable in those, it's only going to affect how I show up, how I feel about myself. It's going to play into my self-confidence. So I always say to people, dress nicely. I think hygiene is an absolute given. So having good
Yes.
personal hygiene and making the effort, yeah, I don't think there's an excuse for not staying on top of that. But I always say to people, show up as a kind of a best version of yourself, but the most authentic version of yourself. And we've been doing that very much with the celebs on this show. I mean, David Potts we've got. I love David Potts. He's one of our returners this year.
Mm.
Um, and he hasn't been with us for good. I think he was last in the agency with us 6 years ago. Um, David loves a hot pant. He loves a hot
What?
pant. Oh yeah, that's his.
On a date? He goes in hot pants on a date.
He just loves to wear shorts. He loves shorts. But this is kind of David's signature thing. So, and he's come in this agency thinking, should I, change, do things differently? He's definitely matured and he's approaching it in a different way. But at the same
Mm.
time, it's like, you do you, honey. Like, there's no point
Yeah.
coming in here like wearing a tailored suit if that's just not you, if that's not a reflection
Mm.
of who you are. You love wearing a short. So that's actually a key part of your identity. So it's really about allowing our celebrities, in, if we're talking about Celebs Go Dating, to really recognize who they are, what makes them feel most comfortable, how they like showing up, and then ensuring they give the best version of that when it comes to their dating.
I think that's very true. It is about being you. And as humans, I think we're very smart at being able to smell a rat, if you know what I mean. You kind of like, that's not really them. They're dressing up too smart, and that's not
Yes,
really who they are.
like a
And I
wolf in
think we
sheep's
just,
clothing.
yeah, you just sense it and you feel it when someone's in their own comfy in their own skin or as best as because it's nerve-wracking as it is going on a date, let alone having to sort of worry about all those other bits. It's just sort of have those things you're not thinking about them, so you can just concentrate on having a chat and connecting with someone.
Yeah,
Also,
yeah.
and also the other thing I think is interesting, you know, the amount of people nowadays on dating apps, the young, the old, I mean, it's just prolific. people's, their profiles and photographs. Do you ever kind of give any advice to people on that, on again how they should be taking their photographs and what kind of stuff, how they should be putting that together?
Again, just keeping it as natural
Mm.
and as real to you as possible. I mean, the biggest sort of turn offs and icks is particularly men that do this, actually, that have like a kind of a trophy around them. So whether that's kind of, standing next to a swanky car,
Yeah.
or outside a casino, when they're on holiday, or they've got like I don't know, a massive fish or something if they've been fishing, or like a trophy kill or something like that. That's just kind of an extension of their manhood. We don't need to see that, and it is an ick. Also, in people's photos and profile pictures, it's just got, this sounds really obvious, but the amount of people that do like a group shot, like here's me on holiday,
Yeah.
like who is the person I'm potentially looking at fancying right now? There's like 8 people in that photo.
And don't stand next to someone who's really hot and you're not. That just makes you go, oh.
I mean,
like,
it's probably not advisable. I think you need to give yourself the best chance of this, although beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But, other kind of major no's, don't wear sunglasses. The eyes are the window to the soul and all that, which is true. And also smile. One of the biggest problems that people find when it comes to their dating profile pictures is that they don't smile. Now, obviously, you don't want to sit there having an inane grin, so you look like an absolute mad person, but a pleasant smile, and I always think, just a really nice, natural, casual kind of mid shot, taken from sort of the waist up, sitting with a pleasant smile, a little bit like a kind of a more friendly, warm work photo, for example, is kind of where we need to be heading. But just don't over egg the pudding. It's just icky. Be normal, be authentic. And we've seen definitely, as dating trends have continued through 2025 into 2026, people are dating much more intentionally now. People are slowing down, thank goodness, when it comes to the dating scene, giving things a chance to breathe, as we should. And that comes to just really portraying yourself authentically.
No, I think it's very true. The thing that I think is the bonkers one is I'm just focusing on the men at the moment. I'm sure there's plenty of women one, but it's the sort of in the gym selfie that's like, that's again like you're saying about that sort of the trophy thing. It's like, I think in the man's mind, it's like what looks manly, and actually
Yeah.
we kind of want to see the real, again, the essence of the person, not this sort of all these kind of like, as you say, the sort of extension of their manlyhood sort
Well,
of thing.
it's just a mask. It's just a mask, and it's icky. And I'm not saying that people that aren't into the gym shouldn't be proud of the fact they're into the gym, or even be proud of the fact that they've got a fantastic physique, But my husband actually is a personal trainer, and a fitness model, and even I'm married to him, so he's not on dating apps. Well, I hope he's not. But even if I say, now this is his job, right? And he's often, and I see on his socials, and he's doing like a gym selfie, and I take the mick out of him. I'm like, oh, babes, it's such an ick,
Yeah.
it's such an ick. And I'm like, we laugh about it, and he'll often do it because it's progress. It's for him, it's progress shots, and that's part of his actual business.
Yeah,
He's not looking to court for anyone. But I think yeah, to see people kind of flexing, it's a flex.
yeah.
And when we're doing a bit of a flex, kind of a status elevate, oh yeah, so and so, oh I know so and so, it just feels a bit icky. You don't need to show off.
The whispering and the subtlety, I think, is so important in so many things. You don't need to shout about it. It's like you prove it in your actions and who you are. It's so
Exactly.
different. But
Exactly.
I think
There's nothing more off-putting than showing off, I think, or willy waving.
oh, and yeah, I'm sure the men have got things equally from a female point of view
Oh, for
that
sure.
we do, that they're like, oh, stop showing, whether your cleavage or whatever they're doing. It's like,
Well,
or
actually,
retouching.
yeah, and actually, I think sometimes women can, step too much into their dominant side, with kind of, trotting out this list of what they won't tolerate. Their opening gambit is, I'm into this, I'm into that, I'm into that. I won't put up with this, I won't put up with that. Da, 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 da. And even and that again, as you say, it works both ways. It's just like,
Yeah.
babes, you've just basically gone in like a battering ram. And there has to be light and shade, when it comes to this. And
Mm.
that's not to say that, of course, everybody should know who they are, should set boundaries and articulate boundaries, but there is a way of doing it. And I think I'm often finding this in the space, particularly with women. Actually, there's perhaps quite an aggression that can come with that, And I'm often suggesting to women that fall possibly into that, just soften it slightly. You can
Mm.
hold and set a boundary, but you can do it in a slightly softer way without sort of dictating, like a drill sergeant, because again, light and shade, that can be quite off-putting.
Good, I think good point. And I think what's very interesting with Celebs Go Dating is it very much holds a mirror up to sort of society on the whole, because but at large, because you've got all these different types of people. You've got a lot of older people this year. Was that a conscious decision by the producers?
Oh, do you know what? The casting process is really interesting for Celebs Go Dating, and myself and Paul are considered. I mean, we're often sort of tapping in with the execs around who might be floating, because often they are sliding into our DMs expressing interest. And actually, I've never known appetite like it for this series. Lots of, and then since the cast got announced, actually, I've had even more celebs messaging me again going, I really want in on this cast, it's a really good cast, you've got Professor Green. And I'm like, I know. But yeah, we have, it's often not a conscious decision, but we like to be representative of across the board when it comes to dating. I think typically we've often gone quite younger with our cast, but yeah, this series, it's just the way it sort of ended up. Really, we have a lot of people that we talk to about the show, and there's so many different factors that end up kind of landing on the final cast. Something's out of our control. But we've definitely gone slightly older skewed, which I'm loving, because love and dating doesn't stop just because you get older. But I think what's so exciting about this series is we're really leaning into one of the fastest growing demographics in relationships, which is blended families. 1 in 3 people are in a blended, step family. And we're seeing that, James Haskell, he's just turned 40. James famously is in the midst of a divorce from Chloe Madeley, so that's a consideration. Obviously, the fact that he's a dad now. It's the same for Professor Green. He's in the same position. We have Colleen Nolan, who is 60 and looking fine, and she's grappling, kind of empty nest syndrome a little bit, and now wanting to put herself first and realizing that there is definitely life in that young dog. So we are,
I like that.
Yeah. And we got Lucinda Light from Maths, who's amazing. Again, she's in her 40s and wanting to find lasting love. David Potts has come back as a returner. And we've got Gabby Allen as well, so we've got a really interesting mix, but definitely skewing slightly older. And we are representing, but we are representing different, really different demographics within that cast as well.
I like that.
Neurodivergence as well.
I love that, Anna, how you've got that. And I think it's great for the younger generation to see it's not that, don't be scared if you don't necessarily find the right person. It's not the end of the world. But I also, what's interesting is you have a podcast, 2 podcasts. Well, one of them is about affairs. And I find that very interesting, because to kind of really scratch beneath the surface, because it's an ultimate fear with a lot of people in relationships. What's the stats at the moment? Is it more men than women who are having affairs? Because we all seem to think it's more likely to be men, that they're going to run off with the younger woman, sort of cliche.
Yes.
What are the stats? What are they looking like at the moment?
It's always historically been weighted in more in a heterosexual relationship, that the men, the ones that are more likely to commit infidelity or are committing infidelity more than women. But actually that gap has been closed quite a bit. It is a fraction men that are cheating more than women. But actually women it is very close to 50-50 now, actually. And I think that's quite interesting how we're seeing, a real shift in the way that women are showing up in relationships, in independence, in equality and needs. And, I think what's quite interesting is that, we are one of the first generations in the history of mankind that are able to choose a partner purely for love. Whereas in generations gone by, it's been a lot more prescriptive than that. It's been about procreation. It's been about societal, financial, exactly, status climbing. Women have been very much the ones who have had no say in it. You know, it's sort of been a man's world when it comes to it. So I think it's a really interesting landscape we're in. And say with infidelity, yeah, like it's never been closer, to be honest. But what we do know, and what I do know for working in the realm of infidelity, is that, you know, my goodness, the blast radius is wide. You know, men, women, heterosexual, same sex, affairs are deeply complicated and cause ramifications wherever they may go, but one size is not fits all, as we have experienced with the affair.
I mean, there's a whole nother sort of conversation on that, because it is actually fascinating. Human nature, you know, it's a sort of, there is this sort of human drive, and we often apply ourselves to go, actually, we're very sort of sensible, rational creatures, but actually, ultimately, we are driven very much by our animal instincts that can take over. And it's like we're trying to pretend often, oh, yes, we're very elevated sort of minds, but actually, so much of our whole instincts can dictate this. So I think we're always going to have this minefield, and it's fascinating. And the open relationships that people are now exploring. And Dr. Tara, wonderful Dr. Tara, who I had on the show last year,
amazing,
who does Celebs Go Dating, and obviously talks a lot about from a sexual point of view, because I know she's got views on that. It seems a little bit that that's being explored and openly a bit more in the media, particularly these days.
Yeah, I mean, Dr. Tara, I mean, she won't mind me saying, but obviously I'll let her speak for herself, but ethical non-monogamy is something that she practices. And as you say, we are moving into a landscape where relationships really are really quite exciting now, because they can take on many different forms. However, what is really important is to remember, though, that it has to work for whoever is involved in that relationship construct. And friends of mine or people I know or work with who are in non-monogamous relationships, it's not to be taken lightly. There is an absolute framework and structure around it. And I think there is this sort of starry-eyed, oh wow, yeah, polyamory, non-monogamy, what basically means I can just go and, you know, have it off with whoever I want to have it off with. Brilliant. That is not the kind of person that you would want to go into a non-monogamous relationship with. Ethical non-monogamy is where there are guide ropes, guidelines, boundaries. It's fully transparent, and everybody knows the rules involved with that. It's all down to respect and trust. Every relationship needs that, regardless of what denomination you choose to enter into. I'm monogamous, but I fully respect. I'm practice monogamy. I think non-monogamy really does fascinate me, and I see it working really successfully for some people. Honestly, though, the majority of people, I see it falls down and crashes down because they haven't had the structure that is needed to implement it.
Yeah, and what I like, you know, you have a very good social conscience. And I really like, you know, you've written books very much, a lot of kind of like self-development books. You've got the podcast about affairs and infidelity and the advice you give on Celebs Go Dating. And now you're doing something with AXA on sort of financial abuse. Tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, I was going to say relationships is very much something that is, you know, runs through my core, runs through all of us, but it's a natural interest area. And actually, it was as a result of being in a coercive, controlling relationship, which financial abuse was part of that really, very long story short, fast forward, once I'd healed and got out of that relationship, and then I started to go into doing the training around becoming a coach and a therapist myself, because I just found it fascinating and I felt a real calling to doing this work. I didn't know that financial abuse was a thing. And yeah, I mean, AXA UK are amazing, like truly, because so many people, in fact, we did some research, and more than 50% of Brits don't believe that financial abuse is understood by the public, and yet 15% of people say they've experienced financial abuse. I would put money on it that it actually is more, because a lot of people don't understand it. Right?
You put the money on. You put the money on.
Put the money on. Down. Sorry, that was a bad. that was a bad pun. That was a bad pun. Thank you. That was a very crass pun, not intended. But thank you, Gia. But I experienced it, you know, myself, and this is why I'm genuinely, I'm so proud and honoured to be part of the AXA UK's What They Say, What We Hear campaign. And, they've recognised that, with their own customers, people are disclosing financial abuse without possibly even realizing that that is what's happening to them, saying, I can't pay my insurance premiums, my husband's taking me off my car insurance, says I don't need my car anymore. And actually they've gone one step further and have brought in Women's Aid to train their staff to know how to spot any red flags, and then equally to signpost any extra support that the customers might need. And I think this is a fantastic initiative, and there needs to be more of this, I think, across the sector, particularly in the world of finance, to help people understand it. Because when I was in a financially abusive relationship, it was the subtleties, and I think it often is when you're in a coercively controlling relationship. It is the subtleties. So one partner perhaps controlling the bank accounts, the passwords, perhaps minimizing your need. Oh, you don't need that. You don't need that. And questioning everything that you're spending your money on, perhaps hiding the bills, not being financially transparent around paperwork, restricting you financially, making you feel like you're treading on eggshells. And a relationship is based on transparency. Regardless of who earns the money, there has to be a feeling of respect and equality, and that each of you are getting equal status when it comes to the financial, how the finances are dished out within the couple.
Where can people find out more about this? Because if they are, either they're thinking themselves, this might be happening to me, and actually conversely, people might not be realizing equally they are doing it to other people. So they might go, am I doing this? And be more self-aware that they may be. So it's looking at both sides. Where can people go?
Love that. And also, if on both sides of that, check in and being curious and go, can I just double check? Like, if you've got nothing to hide, you're not doing anything, manipulative, you'll be open to that communication and rechecking yourself. I would suggest people go, honestly, an easy resource is AXA UK's website or AXA UK's socials. There's loads of signposting there, and it can also take you through to Women's Aid, who are also in a fabulous position to help, further support people.
Yeah, okay. Changing subjects.
Yeah.
You two.
Oh,
now
yes.
you've got your your brilliant podcast. Luanna, you and Louisa have got your brilliant podcast. Do you find nowadays that podcasts, it's getting so visual now? So I've kind of put a bit of makeup on, got sat down. Do you feel when you're doing your podcast that you feel you need to kind of dress up a bit more now? When you're with Louisa, it's like, okay, two girls, I need to kind of, like, if she's dressed up, I need to dress up.
No, complete opposite. We are scruffy by nature. In fact, we've always prided ourselves because we you really are. Luanna is very much, anyone that listens to us, you are literally just dropping in on two mates having a catch up. And we do a little bit more than that, I know, but we always kind of famously didn't make an effort in the sense of makeup or hair or wearing snazzy clothes. As is very apparent if you watch us on YouTube or you see us on our socials. But we did go through a phase beginning of last year. We thought, because when we were doing more on our YouTubes, we thought, maybe we should make more of an effort. So we started putting makeup on. We got a backlash. The fans were like, no, we loved it. They were like, we prefer you. You look lovely, girls, but we just prefer you when you're normal because you represent us, doing the school run, doing the Sainsbury's shop or whatever it may be. You're just two girls sitting there. You're not over egging the pudding. So sometimes we will, sometimes we won't. I think the beauty with Louisa and I is that we are very comfortable in our own skin. That's not to say that we, we're not modest, but at the same time, I've got a little bit of makeup on with you today, just because I felt I really did, look quite eye baggy this morning. But equally, you know what? I'm cool with just being me. Sometimes sometimes I don't.
As you say, it's like when people show up when they're going on dates, whatever you're doing, turn up authentically as who you actually are. Unless you're probably going into court or something, you have to wear a suit. But apart from that, not that I ever have. But I think it's just turn up truly as who you are. Yeah. But you were in like a pop band when in the 90s, etc. And what are any beauty fails that you've actually had back in the day or even recently?
Do you know what? I don't know why I just suddenly thought of this. Maybe I've just seen this recently. But the 90s are just having such a resurgence at the moment.
Yeah.
Do you remember I used to have those hair mascaras.
Oh,
And I used to love this. I went through a real phase of just like caking my hair in like blue hair mascara. I mean, I don't really know why. I think at the time I
it
thought
was a thing.
it
I
was a
had all the
thing.
copper ones. I
Yes,
had copper ones. I don't know where they came from, Boots, but they were very well marketed at us.
they were.
Yeah, they were absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so, but nowadays, what are the kind of things that makeup products? What are the things your kind of go-tos? I've heard you loved using like beauty oils, like oils for your skin, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of a skincare routine. So I do wear makeup and I love my makeup. In fact, my favorite makeup brand, one of my favorite makeup brands is Trinny London. Love,
Mm.
in fact, everything I'm wearing today is Trinny London. Just a really nice light base, nice little lip color, lip color, sorry, cheek color, bit of mazzy. So I love a bit of Trinny London. But my beauty regime, I'm fastidious about, particularly when I'm spending long hours on camera as well. It's so important to remove all the muck from my face. So I'm a big fan of my Murad exfoliator. That's something I use every day. La Roche-Posay, I'm a big fan of the serums and
Oh,
the
I love
skincare.
them.
Oh, it smells so good, honestly. I just absolutely love it. Like I say, Murad is a massive brand for me. Tatcha is another one I love. Renew and Me is another one I really like for night creams as well. I love a little
Yeah.
Beauty Pie, love a bit of their overnight face oil.
So is it the beauty pie oils that you like? Because if you love oils, I'm always intrigued. I like quite like there's a really good Elemis one, sort of
Elemis is
skin
good.
food. What are the sort of your go-to oils? And is it on your face you use it, or do you neck, décolletage,
I
body?
would say Trinny London. I use her Trinny London elevator on my neck
Mm,
for my decolletage, which I love for that. The Beauty Pie, the overnight face oil. Can't remember the exact name. Miracle overnight face oil. I think it is. I
yeah.
love popping that on. That just feels like it's just sucking the moisture back into my face. I love Renew Me serum to cream, which is I use that every night on my face and on my decolletage as well. I'm at the point now where I'm gradually moving the skincare down and down, down and down. I'm like sucking it all in. Give me as much retinol and hyaluronic acid as I can possibly
Uh,
get in.
it is. We just get drier and drier, and I think oils are really
Do.
good because they match your skin. They're not sort of taking anything out that
Mm,
don't, if you strip your skin too much and dry it with cleansers, etc., you're not it then overreacts and it gets to oily. Where oil is such a good balance, and particularly at nighttime,
yeah,
I think it's just
yeah.
and the smell because it kind of holds the smell better.
Mm,
There's a sort of moment of like it's not just what you put on your face; it's how it
mm.
kind of makes you feel. There's that sensory thing I think is
It's
good.
so important. Like last night, I got in very late from filming Celebs Go Dating. I had my makeup on for 12 hours in the day, but a full cleanse, double cleanse, eye cream. And then, as you say, just to be able to then massage those serums and the oils in and layer them up with some lovely cream as well. Like it's like a bath for your face, isn't it? Every time. And it's so important.
It just feels so good. I haven't gotten yours at the moment. I need to go and get some. So I'm gonna check out the ones you said and have
Mm,
a look because word of mouth, people who just that authentic recommendation of what
yeah.
people use, it's like yes, because there's so much marketing out there. And makeup, just you like keeping it natural, keeping it you, not doing too much.
Yeah, I mean, I love makeup. I really do enjoy it. I mean, I'm very lucky that I have a makeup artist for work. My lovely friend Jo, who I've worked with for like 15 years.
What's that, Joe? Joe, I've got her surname
Her
here
name's
somewhere.
Jo Adam.
Joe Adams, yeah.
Yeah, she's amazing. And she knows my skin so well, particularly I've got blepharitis in one of my eyes as well, which is like I get kind of like puffy, irritated eyes. So she's amazing at managing my eyes and my skin and making sure that everything kind of, works for me. But yeah, makeup brands, I love Charlotte Tilbury, Trinny London is one of my absolute go-tos. Brilliant for travel makeup because everything stacks. It's really, really good. MAC. I love it all. I love
It
makeup.
is. It's
So
like
fun.
sweeties. It's like
Yes.
girls going to a sweetie shop. It's
Yeah.
absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
And well, Anna, thank you so much. It's been so gorgeous chatting to you and
Likewise.
lots of different discussion points that I would
Yeah.
love to deep dive more into from the relationship and the whole, the infidelity thing. I think is absolutely fascinating from a social point of view.
Mm.
But Thank you, Anna, and to AXA UK for today's episode. That's it for True Reflections this week. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe wherever you're watching or listening. It really does mean a lot to us. You can find me across your social media by searching at True Reflections Podcast. You can also explore my Skin in Motion cosmetics range to help you boost your confidence at skin.in.motion on your social media channels. I'll be back next week with another celebrity to talk through their beauty experiences, their favorite products, and delve deeper into how the ideals of beauty shapes not just our physical appearance, but also the core of our identities. Until then, have a lovely week.